let's kick it off with a very hard question of, what do you do?
My name's Cara Pratt. I lead Kroger Precision Marketing, which is the retail media entity of the Kroger company. We are 7 years young, and as we think about the opportunity that we have in the special industry for creating relevant connections between brands and customers, that's our focus. That's our focus about how do we build brands and build baskets in really productive, responsible ways.
Well, we have something in common because Pacvue is also 7.
There you go.
There you go. We're kicking off 2025 in style with the same birth year. Okay, so let's talk about trends. What do you see are the biggest retail media trends in the coming year, and how is Kroger going to be addressing some of these trends?
Yeah, it's been a fast track with a lot of retailers coming into this space, particularly over the last 3 years. And one of the biggest things that we see is there's an opportunity to move beyond commerce. Commerce, of course, is really important because consumer behavior is evolving so quickly. The immediacy, the convenience of being able to shop online or be inspired through so many different channels and then convert very quickly online. That is a really core component of it. The brand building aspect and the commerce portion of media today is starting to really converge in really impactful ways. And as we see the future, we're looking down the path, and we've been 3 years really materially on this journey to create the right responsible access into these audience signals, these behavioral signals, and create really audience-driven plans better than this industry has been able to see before. So that's one of the trends that we're seeing, where the aspect of the data intelligence that retailers can bring to inform media planning, which ultimately impacts media buying, is going to come to the forefront as a complement to really critical commerce investments that brands are doing to influence the digitally constrained shelf.
Yeah. So you just talked about how there's a lot of retail media networks. I think I heard a number recently, 252. So I thought there was 200, 252. I mean, there's a very long tail.
Wait till tomorrow.
That's right. That'll be 253. But what is unique about the direction that maybe you're moving in with your retail media platform?
Yeah, 2025 for us is an extension year from, I'm going to say, a refreshed strategy that's really around being audience first, channel agnostic, and science driven. Like, those are the 3 tenets that we're really building our experience and capability around. And then focused on removing friction from the buy side. And that's a really important space for us and what we think this industry really needs to make sure that we can help brands and agency partners on behalf of brands really curate the right experiences and connect the right consumers to the right content wherever that may be. So that's just a primary focus for us. It's really an extension year. Removing friction is going to be really important. There's too many systems, there's too many platforms, there's too many places and spaces to kind of draw data, combine data, execute data, and then the fidelity from the origination of the best data asset to help impact customer behavior starts to erode. So we want to make sure that we're removing friction, and that's going to be through really important bridges that we create with some key partners.
That's awesome.
Yourselves included.
Yes, we are part of that story, and we're really excited about making it simpler for customers to buy. So it's going to be a big year for that. Okay, so there's a lot of metrics in retail media, in typical ones like impressions and ROAS and things like that. Yeah. Is there a specific metric you're particularly excited about or unique to Kroger? Like, what kind of metrics do you think are the most important?
Yeah, I mean, when we lit up Kroger Precision Marketing for the first time, we really talked about media accountability. And it was really anchored in the performance side of let's move beyond the traditional media metrics. There's a role that media metrics can play, but this industry is too sophisticated now to actually hold on to the traditional viewability, click-through rate measures of media. Those aren't good enough anymore. Yeah. Those aren't good enough, and they aren't direct indicators on performance either. And so a lot of the focus, of course, within what we've brought forward and other retailers are attempting to do as well is connect that impression to actual business impact. What is the brand impact that brand has realized from that dollar invested? And so you can then make the extendability, not just into ROAS that's coming off of the mix models, but you can see that extendability into true incrementality for the brand, for the category, and decompose that incrementality because not all incremental sales are really the same when you want to start to harness the understanding of whether it's a buy rate play, right? We're getting existing households to buy more, or we are bringing net new households into the brand or net new households into the category, and therefore the brand too. Being able to separate and distinctively understand the building blocks, if you will, of what truly is incremental on that media buy is important. And so those are some of the spaces that we're very focused on, because it gets back to accountability to that dollar invested. We are not naive to recognize there's such inconsistency in all of these measurement standards, which makes it hard for brands on the other side. We fundamentally believe, on behalf of Kroger and KPM and one of the top retailers with a meaningful asset that can influence behavior and build brands responsibly, that we have to set a standard. And we can't pull down to a lower level of standards. We have to set the standard, and then brands and agencies on behalf of brands have to rise up and establish that is the minimum viable that they will accept. And I think we're early still in that journey. And not all retailers have access to the same data. We are fortunate to have such longevity of a relationship with customers through the loyalty card. Over 60 million households shopping in our stores every year. 96% of sales are tethered to an individual household, and we have an opportunity to monitor that behavior over time. It influences our audience strategy, and it drives a very effective understanding on performance.
That is definitely unique in terms of your retail media platform. Are you doing a lot of things with connecting offline and online behavior?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, online is certainly the fastest growing portion of where brands are growing and where retailers are growing. And there's still a lot of sales that move through a physical store, at least in our omni channel experience that we bring forward as a retailer. And so it's really important for brands to understand as these, because the channel investment, right? We talk about audience first, channel agnostic. There is full funnel investment happening with our audiences, where content's getting experienced through social platforms or CTV streaming platforms or traditional, programmatic and other places. And so being able to help brands understand whether that conversion happened on a website of Kroger.com or all of the different retail banners that we own across America, or in our physical stores, is important. We report on both. We report on total lift that happened and then help decompose that so they can understand. But a lot of brands are seeing a lot of growth happening through digital modalities.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about small and emerging brands.
Yes.
How are they able to compete against their bigger brands that are spending a lot more money than them on your platform?
Yeah, it's a great question, because it's easy for brands to think about the kind of big traditional tried and true players, and they may have more investment. A lot of those tried and true players, they do have more investment. And they also have more complexity within their org design and less agility, therefore, on the movement of dollars in near real time. So I think it's important for the smaller brands, the mid-tier brands, smaller brands, niche brands, to recognize that superpower on agility of investment strategy, particularly on owned and operated assets, right? I mean, you and your team know very well, you can turn on and off that investment within minutes. And so being able to understand that signal, that performance signal, is really, really special and really, really important. And I think the small brands, they have an edge with that agility. Now, with us as the leading food grocer in America, 90% of our top 500 keyword search terms are unbranded. And so as some of these smaller players come in, customers are coming in and they're looking more from a category lens. They're looking for cereal, they're looking for ice cream, looking for crackers, they're looking for candy. And then it's our responsibility as a retailer to serve that customer up what we think they want to build their basket. And so, of course, we work very tightly with Kroger's tech and digital team on organic search returns, right? With our personalization sciences that feeds off of all the card intelligence that we have, and then how and when we allow brands to kind of disintermediate that core personalization science served placement as well. And so this is a huge opportunity for some of these niche brands to recognize the power of consumer minds and behavior and inspiration. And frankly, it's really important for us because we can, in a digitally constrained shelf, when we can get customers to buy net new things, that is a really special part where we can build baskets more fully.
You talk a little bit about your data science. Let's talk about generative AI, because we're at CES and it's 2025. How are you infusing Gen AI into your platform? Is the playbook changing for brands? How can they win?
Responsible automation is really important. I mean, think about the complexity with which we're trying to serve and service customers at the end of the day, and then brands influencing customers. So a lot of it for us is coming up and being fed through some of the audience sciences, right? The predictability of who the best households are to deliver against a business outcome. Maybe the business outcome is around share. Maybe the business outcome is around driving household penetration. Whatever that may be, we need to kind of feed the intelligence of looking at all this different customer behavioral data, not just within a brand or within a category, but across the store, to use that to predict these are the most likely household that can deliver against that brand ask, right? That brand objective. So a lot of that is just being fed into the audience sciences that's informing and influencing the recommendations that we bring forward on who they should be exposing that content to. Of course, we really are excited about what's happening through the scalability of creative and content experiences that need to happen through more, AI-driven means as well. And a lot of that, we think it's really important for brand and brand presence to continue to deliver against the essence of what the national brand leader wants their brand to be set up to be seen as and for. And so we're allowing a lot of that to flow through with our systems and our tech as well. Less about what we need to control and influence, but allow that pull through to come in, because that's a really critical space, especially as you think about what the next iteration of DCO is going to enable for brands.
Absolutely. If you could describe a good case study for 2025 that you would love a brand to do, what would that be? Because we're looking for hand raisers to then go find who wants to do these amazing case studies on your platform.
I think as we look forward, we essentially want to invite brands to learn about consumer patterns and consumer behavior across how all three of those intersect, right? Business strategy then dominoes into audience strategy, channel strategy, and then we can help everybody understand what that final performance layer looks like. We already know, and a lot of your talent is helping brands recognize this too, that first dollars should come in on search, of course, to be able to make sure you have a degree of presence there. 4 out of 10 clicks for us on our platform, and again, like food is different than mass in different spaces, but 4 out of 10 clicks are coming from households new to the brand in the last 26 weeks. That's the first dollar. Then overlay display on O&O. 75% of our impressions that we're serving on display on behalf of brand are net new households to the brand. It's correlating right now to 75% of clicks as well. Each of those in their own right are really powerful dollars invested to bring net new households into a brand. What we see is the interconnection of running both of those ad units, if you will, tactically, but that's just the different placement strategy. There's a 15x accelerator to performance. Think about that within an owned and operated component, and then think about the audience layer that we can then take away from what we're experiencing on Kroger.com or any of our banners, and then expose those same households to content, whether they're on Meta, on Disney's platforms, wherever they may be, on Pinterest, et cetera. And we have the hooks connected in. And when you start to think about then full funnel exposure, no matter where a customer is, then you see another layer of augmentation on performance. And so really, what we want to continue to see is brands focused on brand building and basket building in ways where we're thinking audience threaded all the way through to channel and activation.
Okay, so we're looking for full funnel marketing opportunities for a brand to take advantage of in your case study. You got it. You should have answered that first, because I went way long and this is it. Well, absolutely. I'm taking everything you said, and that's my key takeaway. All right, so last question is we're talking about retail media resolutions. First of all, do you have any resolution? Are you a resolutions person? I'm personally not a big resolution person, but let's go. We can go. Yeah. All right. So no personal ones, but what about for brands out there or agencies? What would be your retail media resolution for them? For me, it's really around, I think brands and agency partners on behalf of brands have to materially step up their utility of first-party data signals. And everybody's a different starting point, right? So, I would say you can't just test your way in small scale with the breadth of evolution and the new activation channels that are moving so quickly. The role retail data will play to help brands
win, right? Grow really responsibly is very, very strong. We've proven that over the last few years. And efficiency and effectiveness can coexist. And so I believe that brands, and then the expectation they should put on agencies is if they're not doubling down or doing, I'll say like a 50% amplification accelerator of the utility of first-party audiences relative to the third-party mix, they're probably working too slow. Right? They are moving too slow in an environment that is moving too fast for them to be able to materially change practice and process. And I think we all know there's, brands have established practices and processes for a long time, and it's hard. It's hard to disrupt something that's moving pretty smoothly. But I think everybody should ask themselves, is it delivering the business results we want? And if the answer is no, be bolder. Be bolder in taking new steps and testing new data sources at the start. If you don't change your planning mechanics, which is the data inputs that are influencing your audience plans, you can't expect the business outcomes to change. So start on planning, start on audience, test materially different audience strategies, and then move fast. Don't wait 6 months for an MMM result to come back. You've lost the year. So that's where, what we would love for an industry push. And it's going to come back to bold moves from brand marketers and big agency partners that are all in to bring this forward on behalf of brands.
All right. Be bold, be fast.
Let's go.
All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.